Hi, thanks for stopping by. It's nice to see you again. I'm Daniel Hylton, and we're going to do another Alla Prima oil painting. Now, my brother sent me a photo that he took of a lake in Glacier National Park when he and his wife visited back in the summer. The photo shows mountains in the background, lake in the foreground, and there's an island in the lake. And he challenged me to do that scene. Now, if I were going to exactly reproduce that photo as close as possible, get all the elements in, that would take 2 or 3 hours. But we only have 30 minutes. So let's see if we can get enough of the elements of that photo, an island and a lake in the mountains, in 30 minutes to make him happy. So let's start the timer, get my glasses. Let's paint. Okay. I'm going to have some clouds today, so I'm going to have a few clouds in the sky there. In the photo, there was quite a few clouds in the sky, actually. So I'm going to have a lot of those clouds in the sky today. I don't want to quite come down that far. All right, let's get some clouds going. Let's get some big old clouds going. Some up here too. Yeah. Get a little blue in that brush. Get the blue out of it. Okay. Let's blend that in, see if that works for us. I think it will, kind of. I just want it to look like there's some clouds up there. Okay. You know what? I think that'll work. All right, let's get some mountains going. Actually, an island in the lake, it sounds like a nice place to have a picnic. I'm going to have a mountain here, big one over there. Having an island in a lake, that kind of sounds like a pretty good place to have a picnic to me. I think I told you, my wife, when we were recording a lot of our, I'm going to have another mountain here, I think. When we were recording a lot of our, I don't know if I wanted that one to go that far to the edge. I don't think I did. I think I want it out here a ways. Yeah, okay. When we were recording, a lot of our dates were picnics. She really seems to enjoy making a picnic basket and making a nice meal and going to eat outside with the bugs. Well, I mean, she married kind of a big bug, so maybe she just likes going out and eating with my relatives. I don't know. No offense to my siblings, not talking about you. I'm talking about things I'm related to, not you. Okay. I think that mountain's going to be in the foreground. Let's have this one way back here. And this one in the foreground. And I want to pretty much come all the way down so I can. And then this one. Yeah, back here. Okay. And let's put a little gray in those mountains. Down lower. Let it break up a little bit. I'm going to have snow down here, so I want that gray to be actually a little lower than that. I'll kind of have a break up, like it's, because I'm going to have quite a bit of snow on these peaks. So this gray needs to be down lower, and like I said, it needs to break so that it looks like there's rocks and stuff. Something like that, I guess. I don't want those streaks in there, though. Okay, now let's put some snow on these peaks. Well, anyway, my lovely wife, she likes picnics, and we continued that after we got married. In fact, when we had kids, I fixed them a swimming hole down at the creek, and we'd go down there and have hot dog roasts and marshmallow roasts, and of course, my wife would make us a picnic lunch, and of course, everything in her picnic lunch was generally quite exotic. A lot of times, it was stuff I couldn't even identify or pronounce, let alone describe for you. So, but then that's always been the way she is. She has sophisticated taste in everything but men, apparently, or husband, I should say. I've been the only man in her life, thank goodness. But she would, like I said, her picnic lunch would always be pretty exotic things. Mine was invariably a turkey and Swiss sandwich on wheat bread, because she knows that my tastes in food reflect my personality, bland and uninteresting. Okay, that looks good. But let's have a place where it kind of juts out here, I think. And let's put that in and have some white on that. But her stuff now, oh boy. She would have, like I said, sandwiches with things like cucumber and sandwiches. And salads. Yes, potato salad. You all know how I feel about potato salad. And by the way, when I say that making a salad out of potatoes is a crime, I do not mean that I think that you ought to be indicted, tried, and convicted. But I do think you ought to have to go out once in a while into a potato patch, or maybe the produce department at the store, and at least render an apology to the poor potatoes that you do that stuff to. Okay. And have some white there. I'm going to need a little more white. Right there. All right. Now let's have some trees climbing up those slopes back there. Let's see. Use this bit a little bit lighter green. Sorry, I don't mean to be in your way here. You know what? I gotta bring that down in front of that. There we go. Okay. Have some trees climbing up these slopes, and maybe have I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna have to have a darker edge on that one to break it up and show that it's in front of that other one. Something like that, maybe. All right. And these. We got to come all the way down this lake. See, we have a. The lake's going to be back there. And gonna have some trees kind of come in the foreground here a little bit. Okay, and I'm gonna need to have some trees in the foreground here that kind of look like they're a little taller. Back there. And here too. Actually, and I'm gonna have, okay. All right, and I'm gonna have, okay, let's have some reflections. They're gonna have to come down here pretty deep, aren't they? Pretty tall. That's not quite. And that needs to go back there. Kind of like that. Okay. Let's talking about my inability or unwillingness to be adventurous when it comes to food, there's a story my mother likes to tell. That's a bit much. There's a story my mother likes to tell about my inability to be adventurous with food at all. When I was, I think, 12. I think I was 12 when this happened, the way she tells it. My older brother was in the military. So I might have been 13. My older brother's in the military. And the brother just older than me. Now I'm going to have, let's see, I'm going to have some trees fairly close back here. Just a few, jutting out here. I just want a few trees jutting out here a little ways. My older brother was in the military, so like I said, I was probably about 13. Because of the story, I want you to think I was younger than I was, because you'll see in a minute. And the brother just older than me had a summer job that he either could not get away from or didn't want to take time off from. And so he didn't go with us either. So it was just my mom and dad, my two younger sisters, and myself. And of course, Dad and Mom. We headed for the Oregon coast. So we were going through some little town in Oregon. I don't know, Bend or Burns or someplace like that. And I'm going to pull that down. Have some more. Oh, and I gotta fix these back here too. Make them look like reflections. So we're pulling through some little town, and there was a sign on a little shop that said, ice cream cones, 30 flavors. And my mom said, that sounds like fun. I want an ice cream cone. So my dad obligingly pulled over. Now I'm going to have some trees on that side for the back. My dad pulled over, handed me some money, and said, hey, bud, go in and get us all an ice cream cone. And I said, okay, well, what flavors everybody want? And my mother said, Dan, there's 30 flavors. Just surprise us. So I went in. Now you have to understand that I was even stupider then than I am now. I mean, I was only 12 or 13 or so. Surely I wasn't 14. I sure hope not. And my brain had probably not quite fully developed. I hope that's the case. But anyway, so I went into this store and was horrified to discover that most of the flavors were hard ice cream, not soft ice cream. Now, the only ice cream cones I'd ever had were the soft ones that come from Dairy Queen. Well, they didn't have those. Most of the 30 flavors were hard ice cream. I didn't know what to do. I said, don't you have it in soft? And he said, no, the only thing we have in soft is chocolate and vanilla. Yeah, you know what I did. I got a chocolate for me and a vanilla for everybody else. You know what I forgot to do here, folks? We don't have a lake. Look at that. So anyway, I went in and I got a chocolate ice cream cone for me and vanilla for everybody else in the car. My mom laughed about that for the rest of her life, and she loved telling that story. She loved telling that story. You know, though I think I was a constant source of amusement for my mom anyway. She had a lot of stories to tell about me. In fact, another one. Like I told you, I am not adventurous with food. I never have been. I like pretty basic stuff. Well, one time, okay, now I'm going to have my island. Let's see. I'm going to have my island right about here. So my mom one time made something. Okay. I'm going to have some pretty tall trees, I think. So my mom made something, at least I thought was exotic for supper. I don't know. Liver and onions or meatloaf or something that I just was not going to eat. And my mom told me, I said, Dan, that's it. That's all we got. You don't eat that, you're going to go to bed hungry. Well, I stood my ground. How many trees? I think I'll have 7 trees. So I stood my ground. I did not eat whatever it was she'd prepared that night. So I got up and left the table with an empty belly. And you know what happened. Not too long later, I'm going to make these those skinny trees that grow at real high altitude. I like those really skinny fir and spruce trees that grow at real high altitude. I think they look really good. So you know what happened. In about an hour, oh boy, I was hungry. I was really hungry. And now I knew that my mom had made some cookies and they were up in the cupboard. So after a while, when I thought, or at least hoped, that she'd forgotten, I'm going to make that one a little taller. Okay. So after a while, when I thought maybe she'd forgotten about my not eating supper, I went into the kitchen. By the way, I think she says I was 4 years old, so I was young and not that bright and a brat. But anyway, I went in the kitchen and asked her if I could have a cookie because I was hungry. She said, no, I told you that if you didn't eat supper, you were going to go to bed hungry. Well, you did not eat your supper, so you're going to bed hungry, and that's what we had for supper. I can't just make something that everybody wants. You have to eat what we have. So, being 4 and a brat, I threw myself back on the kitchen floor, flat on the kitchen floor, and I was yelling and throwing a fit. Well, my mom happened to be doing dishes. Now that lake in the photograph has kind of sits on I don't know what it is. It's kind of, I don't know if this is brush or what, but it's kind of got an odd color. And that goes down like this. Okay, gotta Anyway. Yeah. Kind of, it's like that. Not sure exactly what that is it sets on, but some kind of brush maybe or something like that. And let's get some reflections. There's a tree, there's a tree, there's a tree, there's a tree, there's a tree. All right, so anyway, I was on the floor just throwing a royal fit. Well, it didn't take long for my mom to have enough of that. Now, she was doing dishes. Just a minute, I got to fix this now. Finish telling you. I don't like that being there, and I don't like that being there. Like that. Okay. So, anyway, my mom was doing dishes, and she had a whole pan of dirty, soapy dishwater in front of her. Let's see. I think I will kind of have, like maybe there's some sand there or something. Like that. I don't know if I like that or not. Yeah, I'm going to fix that. I'm going to fix that. I'm going to put some of this stuff on top of it. Bring it down like that. And I really don't know what I was trying to do there, but it didn't work out. Okay, now let's see. Wow, we got 9 minutes left. Well, let me tell you the story. So I'm on the floor and I'm throwing a fit. My mother has this tub of dirty, soapy dishwater sitting right there on the counter. Didn't take her long to have enough of me throwing a fit, so she picked up that tub of water, turned it over, and dumped the whole thing on me. Now, I'm going to tell you something about dirty, soapy dishwater. It's a miracle cure for fit throwing. That was the end of my fit. I'm going to tell you right now, that was the end of my fit. But I've given my mom several. I'm gonna have a rock jutting out here, I think. Something like just a big rock, and maybe I'll have some kind of plant on it or something. I don't know. Let me and I put some white on top. Okay, I got some white. Good thing I brought the tube in with me. Good thing I got 8 minutes left. Let me get a little white on here. Okay, there we go. That's enough. My wife used to sell jewelry, and she was brilliant at it. She was one of the best there was. Every year she sold $1 million or $2 million worth of diamonds. That's what allowed me to become an author. Her doing that and being so good at it. She told me, she said, "You've always wanted to write books. This is your chance. Write your books." And I did. Okay. I don't like that being quite so white. And I think I want to have a like that. And then I want to put some black marks in it places just to make it look like there's, and I gotta take that out a little. Okay. Now let me see if I can get a reflection going off of this, huh? Anyway, my wife, I told you, she sold the company she worked for. They rewarded her by giving her trips all over the world. And one year she won a trip, 8 days to Cabo San Lucas. And while we're down there, I got bit by a pelagic sea snake. Trivially envenomed. If I'd been fully envenomed, I wouldn't be standing here today. Apparently he wasn't mad enough to really nail me. But it was still a very difficult time for me. I suffered from that bite for a long time after we got home. Well, after I'd healed up, my mom and dad, they called one day, and Dad said, "Bud, I heard you got bit by a sea snake." And I said, "Yeah, Dad, I did." And in the background, I could hear my mom laughing. And finally I said, "Mom, you laughing at me?" And she said, "Well, honey, I don't know anybody who's been bitten by a poisonous snake except for you, and you've been bitten twice." Well, that's true. In 1989, I was bitten on the top of my left foot by a copperhead. And then, of course, in Cabo San Lucas, I was, as I just told you, I was bitten by a pelagic sea snake. Whoa, what did I do there? I didn't want to do that. That rock's giving me trouble, so I'm going to leave it alone. You know what? We got 3 or 4 minutes, so I'll tell you what let's do. Let's have something over here on this side, just like a, I don't know, shrub of some kind. And I'll put some flowers on it just because I like flowers. I don't know if there's going to be flowers like this that grow in Glacier National Park, but there could be. There very easily could be. Let me see. Let's make them yellow. Let's have yellow flowers. Just yellow flowers here and there in this. Anyway, so she was very amused by that. Actually, I have 3 poisonous snake stories that I'll tell you as we go along here doing this. Not today, but I'll tell you maybe next time or the time after that. 2 of them involve me being bit by poisonous snakes, and one of them involves my wife, and I think that one is my children's favorite. She didn't get bit, but she encountered one in the garden, and I think that's my children's favorite story of all. So I'm going to have some of these down here so they don't all look like they're up on top. As we go along here, I'll tell you those stories. And, okay. Need to have a few clusters, don't I? Got a minute left. Need to have a few clusters. Okay, that's going to have to do. I'm going to sign this thing and we'll be done. All right. Sign it right here. And this one is number 8. So let's have number 8. That's a big old 8, ain't it? Oh, well. Okay. Well, I hope Ruben liked that. Oh, you know what we could do? We got just a minute here. We could kind of, let me get a little bit of this on here. We could kind of darken this up a little bit at the bottom. I just think I'd like a little bit of variegation in there. That'll work. Okay. All right. Folks, thank you so much for watching. Like I've told you before, I really appreciate your time. I hope you'll join me again. I hope you've had a relaxing and enjoyable half hour today. Join me next time, I hope. And until then, God bless you all, and you take care of yourselves. Thank you.